The movie begins with a teenage girl playing the violin when a grandfather clock chimes in. She sets her violin aside, exposing a wall covered in strange symbols and writing, before leaping from the balcony. The story then shifts to twin sisters Vivian and Juliette Lowe. Through photographs and memories, we see them growing up together and learning to play the piano from an early age. Now in their final year at a prestigious boarding school for young artists, both sisters are talented classical pianists. However, Vivian is considered a prodigy and has already secured a place at Juilliard. Juliette, despite working just as hard for years, failed to get accepted and plans to take a gap year while deciding what to do next. Although Juliette is only 2 minutes younger than her sister, she has spent her life living in Vivian's shadow. Juliette is quieter, less confident, and constantly overlooked. The rejection from Juilliard has left her devastated, but she does her best to hide how much it hurts. As their parents drive the girls back to school, Juliette's father tries to comfort her. He tells her that any academic university would be lucky to have her and encourages her not to measure her worth against her sister's success. But the comparison is difficult to escape. Vivian seems to have everything Juliette wants. She is admired by teachers and students alike. She has natural charisma, a bright future, and a popular boyfriend named Max. Everywhere Juliette looks, she is reminded that her sister is the star while she remains stuck in the background. Back at the academy, all the students gather for an assembly. The headmistress addresses the recent tragedy and speaks about Moira Wilson, the gifted violinist who took her own life 6 weeks earlier. She describes Moira as one of the finest musicians ever to attend the school and reminds everyone that she had been selected to perform the solo concerto at the upcoming senior showcase. The showcase is one of the Academy's most important traditions. Over the years, it has helped launch the careers of many successful graduates. Since Moira is no longer able to perform, the school announces that the concerto competition will be held again in her memory, giving another student the chance to earn the prestigious solo. The announcement excites many of the students, especially Vivian. She had previously lost the competition to Moira and now has a second chance to claim the spotlight. Later, the twins, Vivian's boyfriend, and their friend discuss the news. The friend jokes that the orchestra students are about to enter another round of the Hunger Games. When the conversation turns to Moira, the friend calls her strange and claims she barely spoke to anyone during her time at the school. He also mentions the bizarre symbols Moira carved into the walls, and that she could write with both hands, just like Leonardo da Vinci. Juliette thinks it's too soon to be turning Moira's death into a competition. Vivian, on the other hand, thinks the senior showcase is a huge opportunity and someone else deserves the chance to perform. The conversation quickly changes to Vivian's chances of winning. Vivian's boyfriend tells her that she will impress everyone all over again. After all, she is the best student and has the best teacher in the academy, Dr. Kask. Juliette sits quietly, listening as they praise her sister yet again. After lunch, as the twins check their mailboxes, Vivian asks Juliette whether she plans to change her entry for the competition. Juliette admits she wants to, but says it is too late and her teacher will never allow it. Vivian reminds her that nobody ever wins anything playing Mozart. She then gets a call from an unknown number and, before leaving, tells Juliette to grow some balls. As Vivian walks away, a notebook accidentally falls from a box being cleared out by school staff. Juliette picks it up and notices a sun symbol on the cover. The notebook belonged to Moira. Later, Juliette meets with her teacher for her lesson. She tells him she has been thinking about changing her competition piece. Instead of Mozart, she wants to perform Saint-Saëns' Piano Concerto No. 2. Her teacher argues that the piece is too difficult for her and points out that it's also Vivian's piece. He insists that she stick with Mozart. To her teacher, Juliette is a good musician, but not someone destined for greatness. Afterward, Juliette watches Vivian rehearse with Dr. Kask. As she listens to her sister perform, she becomes increasingly frustrated. Once the rehearsal ends, Juliette approaches Dr. Kask and submits Saint-Saëns as her own competition piece. Later that night, Juliette finds herself strangely drawn to Moira's old room. There she finally opens Moira's notebook. Inside, she discovers a strange message that reads, "Immortal glory awaits she who in her darkness welcomes me." On the next page, They're unsettling drawings that resemble the steps of some ritual. The pages also contain musical notation. Juliet sits at a piano and begins playing the first piece. While she is playing, Dr. Cask appears in the doorway. He tells her the composition is Tartini's Devil's Trill. He also asks whether Vivian knows that she plans to compete using the same concerto. Juliet begs him not to tell her sister. Cask simply wishes her luck and leaves. After he is gone, Juliet continues studying the notebook. She discovers several more drawings, each appearing to represent another stage in the mysterious ritual. The last page has been torn out, however, leaving the sequence unfinished. The next morning is the day of the competition, and Vivian comes to wake Juliet. She tries to calm her sister down and be there for her. As they sit in the auditorium listening to the other performers, Juliet tries to tell Vivian that she will be performing the same piece, but Vivian keeps shushing her because she wants to focus on the music. As her turn gets closer, Juliet's hands begin shaking uncontrollably, so she rushes to the bathroom and runs them under cold water. To her shock, steam starts rising from her skin as if her hands are burning from the inside. She then stands in front of the mirror, exactly like the woman in the first drawing from Moira's notebook, and takes 3 anxiety pills. A short time later, Vivian performs her piece and impresses everyone in the room. Then it is Juliet's turn. When Dr. Cask announces that she will also be playing chansons, Vivian is furious. Juliet begins to play and sounds incredible. As the music fills the auditorium, she drifts into a strange, dreamlike vision. She walks through the empty halls of the school before entering the auditorium. There she sees a crowd applauding someone on stage. As she gets closer, she realizes the person receiving the applause is herself, standing in the spotlight with a bouquet of roses in her hands. The vision abruptly ends when someone calls her name. Juliet wakes up to find herself lying on the floor. She fainted in the middle of her audition. The school nurse believes the combination of stress and anxiety medication may have caused her to pass out. Worried about her performance, Juliet asks how she played, and her teacher reassures her that she did great. Later, while sitting in class, Juliet opens Moira's notebook and notices that the first drawing has changed. The woman standing in front of the mirror now has 3 pills drawn in her hand, exactly like the pills Juliet took before her audition. Her relationship with Vivian starts to deteriorate. Vivian accuses her of humiliating herself and trying to compete with her. Not long afterward, the results of the competition are announced. Despite Juliet's impressive performance, Vivian is selected to perform at the senior showcase. The news crushes Juliet. Still frustrated after losing the competition, Juliet snaps during a lesson with her teacher Roger. She accuses him of holding her back for years and refusing to let her pursue bigger opportunities. Roger argues that she is talented but not destined for the same career as Vivian. When Juliet pushes too far, Roger slaps her across the face. The incident results in him being suspended. Juliet uses the opportunity to transfer to the prestigious Dr. Cask. During her first lesson with him, he asks why she changed her piece. Juliet admits that she just wanted to beat Vivian. Cask tells her that her technical ability is every bit as good as her sister's. In fact, he believes Vivian is actually less efficient as a pianist, but she plays like the devil is at the door. When Juliet asks about Moira, who beat Vivian in the original competition, Cask replies that Moira played like the devil was already in the room. Later that night, Juliet continues studying Moira's notebook. Remembering that Moira could write with both hands, she holds some of the pages up to a mirror and finally manages to read the hidden words. The first step is invocation, the second assurance, the third triumph, the fourth consummation, and the fifth purification. The sixth and final step is missing. That night, Juliet goes to a secret party. While there, she overhears Vivian arguing on the phone and telling someone that she is done with them. As the party winds down and everyone begins leaving, Max and Juliet start talking. She tells him about Moira's notebook and the strange things that have been happening to her. Then she tries to kiss him, but Vivian catches them together. The sisters start fighting, causing Juliet to run off into the darkness. As Vivian chases after her, Juliet is suddenly stopped by a blinding light identical to the one from Moira's notebook. Vivian doesn't see it and keeps running, accidentally falling off a cliff. The next day, Juliet wakes up to find pages covered with Vivian's name written over and over again. As she studies Moira's notebook, she notices that the drawings are changing. The third step now resembles Vivian's recent fall, while the second mirrors Roger's hand deformity. The notebook appears to be documenting the events unfolding around her in real time. After that, Juliet learns that Vivian broke her arm in two places. With her unable to perform, the school offers Juliet her sister's place in the senior showcase. Without hesitation, she accepts. When she later tells Dr. Kask that Vivian will never forgive her, he points out that she still said yes. Later that night, Juliet goes to see Vivian. Her sister reveals that doctors are not sure whether she will ever play the same way again. Juliet insists that she didn't break her arm, but Vivian sees things differently. She reminds Juliet that she could have called out and warned her before she fell. Juliet accuses Vivian of cheating on Max after overhearing her phone call at the party. Vivian tells Juliet that something is seriously wrong with her. Then she warns her that whatever trouble she is getting herself into, this time she won't be there to pick up the pieces. Juliet starts researching Moira online and discovers that shortly before her suicide, Moira's mother fell from a ski lift and was left in a coma, while her father later locked himself inside their house and burned it down. The more Juliet learns, the more convinced she becomes that the notebook is connected to the tragedies surrounding Moira's life. Juliet talks to Max about the notebook and everything that has been happening to her. During their conversation, she also reveals that Vivian has been cheating on him and Max publicly breaks up with her. As the days pass, Juliet continues preparing for the showcase, while also dealing with her final exams. During their final practice before the showcase, Dr. Kask gives her his number to call him if she needs anything. She then invites him to attend her and Vivian's birthday dinner. Later that night, Max comes to check on her. He tells her that he officially ended things with Vivian, and the two sleep together, unknowingly recreating the fourth step from Moira's notebook, consummation. However, Max freaks out and abruptly leaves. The following evening, the family gathers for the twins' birthday dinner with Dr. Kask as a guest. During the meal, Juliet's mom asks him whether classical music even has a future, considering how few people seem to listen to it anymore. In response, Kask tells them the story of the composer Tartini. According to the legend, Tartini dreamed that the devil appeared at the foot of his bed and offered him a melody so beautiful it would live forever in exchange for a single soul. When Tartini woke up, he wrote what became known as the Devil's Trill. Most of his music has been largely forgotten, all except that piece. Kask explains that great musicians devote their entire lives to mastering their craft. By the time they step onto a stage to perform a concerto, they have already sacrificed countless opportunities, relationships, and experiences. As long as there are people capable of appreciating that sacrifice, true music will survive, preserved by those who deserve it. The speech strikes a nerve with Vivian, and she throws her birthday cake at Dr. Kask and storms out. Since her father has had too much to drink, Dr. Kask drives Juliet back to school. At his house, he tries to encourage her before the showcase and tells her that she has real potential. Misreading the moment, Juliet kisses him. Kask stops her and insists that nothing can happen between them. Humiliated by his rejection, Juliet reveals that she knows about his affair with Vivian. When he gave her his phone number, she recognized it as the same number that had been repeatedly calling her sister. The confrontation quickly turns hostile, with Juliet accusing him of taking advantage of his students. Furious, she grabs one of his prize trophies and throws it into the fire before storming out. Back in her room, Juliet notices that Moira's notebook has changed once again. The drawings now correspond to the fourth and fifth steps of the ritual, reflecting her night with Max and the destruction of Kask's trophy. With only the final step remaining and the last page still missing, she has no idea what comes next. Then she falls into a trance-like state and begins drawing automatically. When she finally looks at the image, she sees a terrifying illustration that appears to demand sacrifice. The drawing shows a girl leaping from a ledge, and in a panic, she burns the entire notebook. Before the showcase begins, Vivian confronts Juliet one last time. She tells her that she may not have always been the nicest sister, but she was always there when it mattered. And in return, Juliet stole her teacher, her boyfriend, and her future. Vivian then delivers one final blow. She reveals that Juilliard never sends scouts to events like this. Everything Juliet believed about the showcase, changing her life, was a lie. Even if she walks out on that stage and gives the greatest performance in the history of music, nothing will change. She will still be Juliet. She will still have nowhere to go after graduation. And no matter how hard she tries, she will always be mediocre. The words hit Juliet hard. Vivian turns around and leaves, abandoning her sister just moments before the most important performance of her life. As Juliet waits backstage, panic begins to overwhelm her. When she is finally called to the stage, she freezes completely. Unable to face the audience, she runs out of the auditorium and climbs to the roof. Standing on the ledge, she looks down and prepares to jump. It seems as though the final step of the ritual has finally arrived. Then she sees the same mysterious bright light associated with the sun symbol from Moira's notebook and leaps. As she falls and bleeds out below, her mind retreats back into the auditorium. The audience is on its feet, applauding wildly. She has delivered a flawless performance. The crowd adores her. She has finally achieved the recognition she spent her entire life chasing. Then she sees Vivian. For the first time, her sister looks at her with pride and admiration. In that moment, Juliet finally has everything she ever wanted. The applause grows louder and louder as Juliet smiles, while her mangled body lies impaled on a sculpture outside the building, as students pass her by without even noticing her. In the end, Juliet made the ultimate sacrifice in pursuit of greatness, only for it to go entirely unnoticed. The end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time.